Good afternoon. It's Saturday, April 10th, 2021. How far would you go? How far would you go to seek vengeance? There is a tenet of forgiveness. And we all forgive on a daily basis. Maybe it's after we chew out some idiot after he cuts us off on the road, but we don't hunt that person down and make them pay for their idiocy of being on the cell phone and cutting us off. Although those actions of driving that 3,000 plus pound bullet down the road, indiscriminately aiming it at other people, is deadly. We go on. A stupid comment, stupid statement, stupid actions. Depending, we may forgive, we may not forget, but we may say, you know what, okay, it was made in a heat of a debate or whatever. But how far would you go? Now, today, they call it depths of darkness. How far would you go into the depths of darkness to seek vengeance or revenge on something more severe? The murder of a family member, torture maybe, rape, which completely obliterates a person's identity. Might as well be murder of a character. How far would you go then into those depths of darkness? Let's say, hypothetically speaking, someone showed up at your house and slaughtered your family, and you escaped, or you were out of town or at work, and when you returned to find the carnage, you went to a family member's house to find out they visited there first. How far would you go into those depths of darkness? These are soul-searching questions. Would you forgive then? The religious cults of Abraham, when they force converted. Let me stop first. I want to digress for a moment and say I'm wearing my Polska hat for a reason. I'm honoring the ancient fighting spirit that comes from those Polish people, those pagans that handed it down to their posterity in spite of Abrahamic indoctrination. Strength, that fighting spirit that beats within the Polish heart. I wear this to honor that pagan Polish spirit. So, the religious cults of Abraham, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam went into our northern pagan ancestral lands and dispossessed people. They murdered, tortured, and raped our ancestors, our family, our kin. And the pagans fought back. They retaliated against them. And history, which is written by the victors, calls them barbaric heathens. The Vikings and the Viking Age. In the old world, it was the last vestige of vengeance against what those Abrahamic cults were doing. Vengeance. Look how the Vikings are portrayed in modernity. Dark, barbarous pirates of the north, pillaging and plundering good Christian people. You believe that? If you believe that, oh boy, you've got some learning to do. They went far into those depths of darkness, as they are called today. History is written by the victors, though. And now, the religious cults of Abraham are protected. As a matter of fact, they have special crimes assigned to them. And we put these in here, this Northern Paganism exposing Abraham. While they try to say they're being so persecuted, they have special laws for them to protect them. If you do anything, which we do not condone any violence against these three cults, there's other ways to retaliate in this day and age. The Viking Age is over. There's now laws that if a person attempted to do what our Viking ancestors did then and retaliate in kind, an eye for an eye, if you will, well, I hope you like being in a cage, because you're going to be a convicted felon rotting away in a prison somewhere. We don't condone that. But they're a protected status now. And so they try to say how persecuted they are while enjoying this protected status. And to that end, I'm going to play a couple videos that happened last weekend, a week ago. The first one is from London, where the police went into a Polish Good Friday church. Freitag. Freedom. We get the word freedom from Frida's name, Mother Goddess. And the second video is from a Polish pastor in Canada. Why the police picked two Polish churches to go into, I don't know, but here are the videos. Here's the first one, London.
Ladies and gentlemen, this gathering is unfortunately unlawful under the coronavirus regulations we have currently. You are not allowed to meet inside with this many people under law. At this moment in time, you need to go home. Failure to comply with this direction to leave and go to your home address ultimately could lead you to be fined £200, or if you fail to give your details, to you being arrested. I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, though it is Good Friday and I appreciate you would like to worship, that this gathering is unlawful, so please may you leave the building now. Thank you.
To proszę wobec tego wyjść z kościoła.
All the people are leaving. Okay. That was very polite, wasn't it? I mean, no one went in there and said, you're having an unlawful pagan gathering in this newly forced converted Christian or Muslim area. And so we're stealing your property and we're dispossessing you of your homelands and we're throwing you into dungeons someplace and stealing your children as our sex slaves. That didn't happen, but yet this somehow is persecution. Now, it's under the guise of COVID. I understand that, and that's a topic for another story. But they feel persecuted? When you look at what they have done, I'm going to use a word here that is outside the Old Norse text, but it equates to Urlog, karma, bitch. Now, here's the next video. This one's from a priest or a pastor in Canada. Again, another Polish priest. And the fighting spirit is in this one that has been handed down from ancient pagan days, but it's very misguided spirit because he's fighting for an invented god with a very barbaric invented religion. But the spirit is there nonetheless. Now, well, let me play the video and then I'll comment on the video.
Please get out. Get out of this property. Immediately get out. Get out of this property immediately. Out. I don't want to hear anything. Out of this property immediately. I don't want to hear a word. Out. Out. Out of this property immediately until you come back with a warrant. Out. 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 Out of this property. Immediately out. Immediately go out and don't come back. I don't want to talk to you. Not a word. Out of this property. Immediately out. I don't care what you have to say. Out. Out. Out of this property, you Nazis. Out. Out. Gestapo is not allowed here. Immediately, Gestapo is not allowed.
Called them Gestapo,
Out.
reference to Nazi Germany.
Do you understand English? Get out of this property. Go. So go. Go. And don't come back without the warrant. Out, Nazi. Out.
Nazi.
Out. You understand? Nazis are not welcome here. Out. And don't come back without the warrant. Do not come back without the warrant. You understand that? You're not welcome here. Nazis are not welcome here. Gestapo is not welcome here. Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths. Unbelievable, sick, evil people. Intimidating people in a church during the Passover. You Gestapo, Nazi, communists, fascists. Don't you dare coming back here.
Okay, that's enough. So, this priest called them evil people for going into his religious area and trying to force him closed because of COVID regulations. That's exactly what these very same people did to our northern pagan ancestors. Easter is a pagan celebration. 100% pagan. Imagine, if you will, if these evil Abrahamic cults would have gone into our centers of worship, which Polish people should know. Along the Elbe River, the Christian cult went in there and decimated places of worship in holy groves and defiled burial areas. Not just in Polish areas. I'm just pointing this out because this is a Polish priest. But imagine, if you will, if a Gothi or any pagan family in their own home would have said, "Get out and don't come back unless you have a warrant," they would have been probably killed on the spot. Their home would have been now a belonging of the Christian church or Muslim or Jewish. This is protection by law. So while it's under the COVID arena of things, they are protected by law in their so-called persecution. Give me a break. We need to change this from the inside out. Hate crimes are in place to protect these people. They have phobias assigned. And as well, he dropped the bomb a number of times, Nazi. I mean, it's funny how the far left is the ones doing things, and they're being called the Nazis by him, and then you have Antifa, which is an arm of the far left, which stands for what? Anti-fascist. And the Nazi party was a fascist party. It's kind of just a little comedy irony there. But can you imagine if our pagan ancestors would have just said, no, get out, get out, get out? Well, they did. They did say that. They said, get out. And then those religious cults of Abraham said, no. They didn't just walk away and say, well, we don't have a warrant, we can't do anything. No. They took people prisoner immediately, on the spot. They brutalized them, killed, beat, dispossessed, tortured, raped, murdered. That's how the conversion process went. And now we have fools that are going around, and there's videos on the internet. I'm not going to mention any names. And they run around with a little microphone and try to make a name for themselves. And they say, do you even know what Easter is all about? Well, yeah, it's pagan. That's what it's about. Now, in your Frankenstein created being of what you've been programmed to do, maybe you think the pagan time of year, Ostara, Easter, is about your fictitious Jesus. Well, that shows how out to lunch you are. And these people who are cowering behind the protection of law when there was no protection of law for our pagan ancestors against the same actions done to, no, more barbaric actions done against our pagan ancestors. There was no protection of law because they were the law. And now they've introduced laws and have them in place to protect them from retaliation. So you have to do things legally to retaliate. Make sure you do. They're being called heroes. This guy right here is being called a hero. He's a coward. Yeah, okay, he possesses that ancient Polish fighting spirit. But he's a coward. Hiding behind a law that would make anything done to that Christian church a hate crime. We put this in here, pages 92 and 93. Not all of this, obviously. We don't have that spirit of foresight to let us know this was going to happen. But we addressed pagan groves. It's in that book. This book, by the way, is included in this book, which is 6 books in one. Northern Paganism, 6 books combined, available on Amazon or through us. Amazon, you can stay anonymous. Now, these same types of people talk about freedom. Helga is fria. Freedom. They talk about freedom and their God-given rights. Freedom and their God-given rights. what about the gods and goddesses given rights that came before your fictitious god? See, they had rights. They had freedom. But they were imprisoned because they didn't have the Abrahamic religions. They had the religions of their ancestors. They had their ancestral homelands, their ancestral gods and goddesses. But that didn't matter. Their freedoms were stolen from them. So when we read in the Constitution about nature's God, well, it is the God of the Bible, invented as he may be by people, that stole the rights of people, made them slaves, put them in dungeons, killed them, brutalized them around the globe. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. The God of nature, nature's God, discussed by our founding fathers, cannot be the invented God of the Bible. He is anti-nature. Cut down the groves, enslave people, take away their freedom to worship in their own homes the gods and goddesses that they choose. He is anti-freedom. He is communist. He is evil. There is no forgiveness for that. The Catholic Church and their Pope saw fit to apologize to the brother cult of Islam for the Crusades. But yet, it hides behind law. Now, why would the Pope apologize to the brother cult of Islam? Because they're one and the same. He doesn't want to be Islamophobic. They're one and the same, but Northern paganism is different. That is what the three of them fought to overthrow, the Mother Goddess. Read the Bible. There's not one time that, and we put this in our books, there's not one time that chaotic, invented God of the Bible goes on a temper tantrum spree of destruction and chaos that is not directed against the Mother Goddess. And that is why the religious leaders of those three cults will never apologize for the barbarity persecuted against Northern pagans. And that is the ancestral, the origin of all European, American belief. The ancient gods and goddesses. This is not a hero. This is not persecution. This is a perfect example of protection under the law that they have in place. So what they did to others cannot be done unto them. And that is where I will end this video. I am sitting here next to a glass of bourbon Manhattan that was full of ice when I started, and it's now melted. And I'm going to take a sip of this, and to that ancient pagan spirit, Nostrovia. Till next time, or till's nästa gång. Good health.